We've all heard it right. It's lonely at the top, almost like a given, you know. You
Hmm.
put in the work, you see success, and then, well, you're surrounded by emptiness you didn't expect. Today, we're going deeper, past that simple saying, really diving into what success costs us emotionally and why maybe the more you achieve, the more alone you feel.
Kind of a strange thing when you think about it. You'd figure success would mean more connections, more, people around you. I mean, you're joining those special groups, enjoying perks, most can only imagine. But the truth is, it's often very different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, at the top doesn't have to mean billionaire or celebrity status. It's about reaching any level where, well, you've got a kind of exclusivity. Could be financial freedom, professional recognition, or even a lifestyle with its own unique, I guess, advantages.
Yeah, yeah. It's about the challenges, the unique ones, and often the isolation that comes with that success, no matter what shape it takes, really.
And look, let's be real. Those perks can be pretty great. We've all had that daydream, right? Private jets, fancy lounges, Michelin star restaurants, the whole thing.
Oh, the good life is definitely appealing. But like anything else, there's another side to it.
And speaking from experience, it's not always so glamorous, those perks. They cost something. Sometimes quite a lot, actually.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole hidden world of complexities and stresses that, most people never even see.
Like dealing with fraud alerts on your cards
Hmm.
constantly, spend a bit more than usual, and bam, account's frozen. Feels like you're punished for doing well.
Right. The irony. And then on top of that, you've got to manage all the points, all the reward programs. It's like a whole job just keeping up with it.
Yeah, I fell into that trap once, I'll admit. Spent hours, literally hours, planning a whole trip just to squeeze the most out of my credit card points. By the time I was on the plane, I was so wiped I could barely enjoy the reward.
I think many people listening will get that, that feeling of the things you work so hard for, they end up controlling you. Like you're on a treadmill, always chasing the next level, the next perk, and you forget what actually matters.
You got it. And that's just the practical stuff. We haven't even talked about the emotional isolation that comes with success.
And that's where things get, well, more interesting and definitely trickier to deal with.
Because here's the thing. The higher you climb, the fewer people seem to really understand your world, what you're going through.
The problems you face, they become, I don't know, more specific. Your whole viewpoint changes, and suddenly you're surrounded by people, but you feel really, really alone.
Yeah. I remember going to a networking event a while back, and every conversation felt so, I don't know, transactional.
Mm.
People were way more focused on my job title than, well, just me as a person.
Yeah.
One of the loneliest times I've had,
Yeah.
even with so many people around.
It's like you're with people who share maybe your level of privilege, but not how you got there. They haven't walked the same path, faced the same obstacles. And so even in a room full of people, there's no real connection.
Like success builds this echo chamber, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's agreeing, everyone's talking about achievements and privilege, but there's just no real empathy.
And that lack of empathy, that inability to really connect is so isolating. You start to wonder who you can actually talk to, be vulnerable with, who really gets it.
You're in this like gilded cage of your own making. All the outward signs of success are there, but inside you're wanting something more, something real.
And getting out of that cage, that's the challenge, isn't it? Figuring out how to be successful, but keep those real connections that actually make life meaningful. So we've been talking about this isolation, right? This feeling of being surrounded by people, but still feeling so alone. Why is that? What is it about success that makes people feel disconnected?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think maybe it's partly because of the systems we've built around success, how we as a society elevate and separate those who achieve a certain status or wealth.
You're right. You're right. It's almost like society designed exclusivity into success itself. It starts small, like frequent flyer programs, VIP clubs, but it goes deeper into things like our financial systems, education, even healthcare.
It's this constant push for the next level, the next perk, the next experience that makes you different from everyone else. And as you climb higher, the harder it gets to, I don't know, break through.
And those barriers work both ways. They isolate the people at the top, but they also make it harder for those on the outside to even try connecting. It creates this unspoken gap, like assuming those who've made it are just different, not relatable.
It's true. I remember this one time, my bank actually froze my account. I'd made a few big purchases close together and
Seriously, I wouldn't think that'd be a problem for someone, well, at your level.
right, you'd think so. But they thought it was fraud. I was on the phone for hours trying to convince them that it was me, the account holder, making those purchases.
Hmm.
So frustrating. It really showed me how these systems, these supposed privileges, they can actually isolate you more.
Like, you're being punished for your own success. You get these privileges, but then they make you a target, an outsider in a way.
Exactly. Which leads to the question, how do we break out of this? How do we succeed without losing those real connections? Without being trapped by our own achievements?
That's what we need to figure out. And I think it starts with changing how we see things, how we view status, those outward signs of success.
I agree. I agree. We need to stop letting those perks, the privileges, define who we are. Stop thinking our worth is tied to what we own or the special experiences we have.
It's about shifting focus from wanting outside validation to, feeling fulfilled inside, from chasing status to building real connections, finding joy in the simple stuff, realizing that real happiness comes from within, not from things we gather.
That sounds good, sure, but how do we actually do that?
Mhm.
Easier said than done, right?
Mhm.
Especially when we're constantly told what success is supposed to look like.
Yeah, you're right. It's tough. But it's not impossible. There are things we can do to start breaking free. First, we got to prioritize real connections. Make time for people who don't care about your status, who like you for you, not for your job or your money.
Love that. One of my best friends, honestly, has no clue what I do for work. It's so refreshing to have someone see me as just me, not some persona I have to project.
Exactly. Those are the relationships that keep us grounded. Remind us what's important. They help us stay true to ourselves, even when success is swirling all around.
So prioritizing real connections.
Yeah.
What else helps with this isolation?
Simplify. Simplify those privileges.
Yeah.
Delegate managing all those perks and rewards. Hire someone to deal with your travel points, your finances, anything that's stressing you out unnecessarily.
Good point. It's about getting your time and energy back so you can focus on things you enjoy. Spending time with people you love, doing what you're passionate about, just enjoying the simple things in life. Get rid of the burden of managing your success, and you'll have more space in your head for what truly matters.
That's it. It's about making a life that feels good, that feels joyful, not weighed down by everything you've accomplished.
Love it. Practical and makes a difference.
Mm.
Any other wisdom before we move on to final thoughts?
One more thing, I think it's key. Be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to let people see the real you, not just the successful you. Talk about your struggles. Let people know that you're not, immune to problems, to doubts, to fears.
Hide the cracks, so to speak.
Right. Success doesn't make you superhuman. In fact, it usually brings a whole new set of challenges. And when we share those, we open ourselves up to connection, to empathy, to people being there for us. It reminds us and everyone else that we're all human no matter what we achieve. We all have those vulnerable parts, those insecurities, those times when we're not sure. And it's in those moments when we share that human experience that real connection happens.
This whole conversation, about loneliness at the top, it makes me think about how we as a society define success. Like we've been told that reaching the peak means cutting yourself off from the things that actually make life worthwhile.
Yeah, it's everywhere, that story, isn't it? We're taught success is about climbing, getting to the top, and often leaving others behind along the way. But the truth is, the kind of success that makes you truly happy, that lasts, it's built on connection, on working together, on sharing experiences.
We need to change this idea that worth equals wealth, status, and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not about private jets or exclusive anything. It's about how we affect others, the relationships we build, what we give back to the world.
Exactly. It's realizing that real success isn't a solo mission. It's a journey we take together. It's about helping others up as we climb, creating a sense of community, and making a world where success isn't about what we get, but how we connect and contribute.
This reminds me, a while back I got invited to this super exclusive event, VIPs, special access, the whole deal. It was tempting, I'll admit. Felt like, I don't know, proof that I'd made it, a symbol of how far I'd come.
I can imagine the appeal. It's easy to get pulled in by that kind of validation.
But at the same time, I'd promised my family we'd spend the day together. Nothing fancy, just quality time with the people I love. And in the end, I chose family over the VIP thing.
And I'm guessing that was the best choice you could have made.
It was. Because right then, I realized that real fulfillment doesn't come from hanging out with the elite or chasing those fleeting moments of fame. It comes from connection, from those everyday moments of laughter, love, sharing life with the people who matter most.
It reminds us that success doesn't have to mean sacrificing our relationships, our well-being, or feeling like we belong.
So wrapping up this deep dive into loneliness at the top, I want to leave you with something to think about. What if we redefine success? Not as a lonely peak to conquer, but as a horizon we all aim for, together. What if we focused on lifting each other up, celebrating each other's wins, and creating a world where success doesn't mean isolation, but proves our shared humanity?
It's a great vision, and I think we can make it happen. It starts with each of us choosing connection over being alone, being real instead of pretending, finding meaning instead of just status. It's about knowing we're all in this together, and that true success means creating a world where everyone has a chance to thrive, connect, and find their own fulfillment.
Remember, you don't have to go through this alone. Reach out, connect with people, build a support system that celebrates your wins and helps you through the tough times. Because at the end of the day, we're all human, we all want connection, and we all deserve to experience the joy of success together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.